Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And today I have a really special guest, and we made it a little bit late in the Philippines because it is the
Very funny.
start of day for my esteemed guest today. So we have Jean Fallacara, a longtime biohacker. He's also my very first podcast guest this year in Biohacking and Beyond, where we talked about how the biohacking movement is actually changing and transitioning. And actually, Jean is the founder of Lifespanning Magazine and Lifespanning the company and Lifespanning the movement as well. So, bonjour and merci d'être
Bonjour.
là encore. Thank you so much
Merci.
for being here. Hi, Jean.
Hi, thank you for having me again here. I'm honored to explain a bit about peptides and everything, and I'm very honored to be your friend first. And I still do remember our first live Instagram that we've done like years ago. You came to my live Instagram there, and since then we've been friends in contact and exchanging information and seeing each other growing in the industry, I would say. So thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure, and yeah, you are like an idol, so a biohacking idol. I'm
Come
so
on.
very much honored to be in your radar somehow. So I really love it that that you're here tonight to grace the biohacking community in the Philippines and to also educate us about this big part of biohacking that a lot of the Filipinos are actually not aware of. And in fact, I only got wind of it in 2019 or 2018 something when I was in the US. I got, a hold of some of it just cuz being a
Mm,
biohacker, we like to
yeah.
self experiment and see even if there's nothing really to treat, no condition or whatever, we just want to see I wonder what the effect is. And to
How
that
did,
effect,
yeah. Yeah.
I tried a couple and I would love to know all about it. So first, let's start with what are peptides and how do they
Yeah.
function in the body?
So that's the thing, trying and looking and experimenting. The concept of biohacking at large, or whatever we're using in the biohacking industry, which for me is more life spanning, it's like we need to put in perspective the fact that we're not using medicine or chemicals, molecules that trigger effect immediately, like the magic pill that everybody is chasing. That doesn't exist really in our field. And so we know the biohacking industry has been known because of the supplements that have been around, and people were taking supplement even to the extreme, where you've seen guys taking over 100 pills to try to optimize their lives and so on. And the peptide, which is sits, I would say, in between the supplement and the medication, I've been used in the bodybuilding industry for a long time, and they've been banned. They've became back, and they were in the gray zone. However, here's the thing: peptides are just small proteins, so tiny, so they're tiny enough to be absorbed by your body right away. And those proteins in small chains are actually the messenger of everything that is happening in your body. They can trigger hormone, they can trigger insulin, they can trigger cell reaction, mitochondria, whatsoever. So when they go into the body and they are small enough to be used as they are without any change or transformation, those small molecules, small proteins chain actually become the trigger, the messenger. You know that everything in our body happens as like there is a signal that is made out of protein to synthesize proteins, larger chain of proteins, and burn fat, burn glucose. So does that work? The brain is gets signal and trigger hormones, endorphins, whatever it is, to make that happen. And the signal actually is coming from peptides. So when you look at it, think about it. We're using supplements, and we need to stack supplements to trigger certain effect in our body. We're using, on the other extreme, medicine to cut down or to change the way that we process information within our body. I would say that peptide sits in between supplements and nutrition. They have a bigger efficiency than nutrition because they're already in the usable form. They're, like I said before, small, tiny chains of proteins. So they're right away the messenger. In food, you need to actually cut down all the element of steak or um, whatever you eat to produce this type of short chain of proteins and then get the signals. So, and the supplement are tiny molecule that would trigger your body to make this type of proteins. So they sit right there. They're ready to use. They're just good to go in your body, and they have a tremendous effect because they are like that. There is no degradation. There is nothing. And it goes like fast and it triggers the right signal. So you can see drastic changes by using peptides as long as you are very careful on using them, because most of the peptides have to be injected.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, the second point is like, because of the popularity of peptides today, a lot of industries have been flooding the market with what we call the gray market. So they are labeled research grade, research use only, provider use only, or things like that. Be careful. They're not for human. They're for rats in lab.
Oh,
Okay. So
wow.
they are not tested for endotoxin. They have no test on sterility. They're not made for human consumption. And some people inject themselves with these type of peptides and end up in emergency room because of overreaction of endotoxins or sterility or whatsoever. So it is a dangerous game, and that's why the FDA came in place and say like 2 years ago, approx, they came and they said like, listen, no peptides, it's finished. They banned every peptide that was out there. And slowly but surely, they started to give access to different peptides. What is the peptide we know the most? Do you know
BPC,
which one?
BC,
No, before BPC.
the
GLP,
GLP-1.
GLP-1, Ozempic is a peptide.
Wow, it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Wow. Then what? How would you explain then the adverse side effects? Because right now I'm hearing that there's a 2 billion lawsuit against why is it being misused, or is it being overdosed? What is going on with the side effects?
Well, I believe that everything that brings money triggers lawsuit. This is how our words work today. Like if a company makes money, someone will sue it just for the fun of making money on the back of it. I think that Ozempic was really intelligently designed as a GLP-1. However, the way that the GLP-1 in general works is like they play on cutting down the appetite, acting on the digestive mode of your body, and then playing with your insulin. The problem we have is like every time, we talk about insulin a lot in our field, and like having a flexibility in insulin is important and so on and so on. But I think that because of playing with the IGF-1 and the insulin, so a growth factor linked, you may have consequences. And the lawsuits are probably legit in a way because of the misuse of it. When you take Ozempic, you need to gradually adapt your body to it, take a certain dosage and scale from there and make sure that it works. And most important, as above everything, you need to follow your blood work. Now, your AGF-1, for example, is leveled in your bloodstream. And I think that many people have just been using this Ozempic and others, GLP-1, the wrong way. They've been injecting themselves because it was easy to access in America today. Like you go online and you can get a prescription for GLP-1 right away. And then you're by yourself and you do whatever you want with these. You don't know the dose. You inject that. And of course, you're going to have problem. You're going to have a digestion block. Some people say that they turn to have blindness or like losing sight. I don't know how valid is that, but I do surely know that it blocks the digestion process, and that can be a dangerous game, of course. So it's like everything, if you were to take 200 supplements a day, you're going to put your liver at burden and you're going to end up in few years by having a liver failure. If you take peptide the wrong way, you're going to go against your biology again and trigger something that is not right. And it's the same as if you take too much medicine. If you were to take too much Advil or too much whatever molecule is out there, it's going to affect some things. Like, for example, Advil, you're going to take too much Advil, your liver is going to fail as well. And it's a medicine. And that happened also with food. If you take too much food, what is happening to you? Same.
Yeah. Or too
Yeah.
much
So,
water.
too much water, absolutely. And too much water and not enough salt, even more dangerous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to flush out your electrolytes, and that could be
Yeah.
dangerous. Hyponatremia, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So,
that's interesting. You would say that this peptide, I mean GLP-1 is has a hormone pathway. I mean the
yeah.
insulin.
AGF1. So he has the hormone pathway. He triggers like he plays on the ghrelins and the leptin. So it's all like going appetite, digestion, insulin. You go in this pathway. It works. Of course, you lose weight. Definitely, you lose weight.
Yeah.
But I'm not a fan about it. To be honest, we have AOD 9604, which is just a small fragment of growth hormone. It's a tiny part of the growth hormone, and that one actually plays completely differently. It goes straight on the fat cell and it burns fat. It does nothing else.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's called lipolysis, so the fat breakdown, and that's the process of this peptide, which is very interesting because where do you have most of your seaborne fat? It's in your belly, and this peptide actually, once injected, triggers the fat metabolism in your belly. So it's been shown on several researches that people reduce their circumferences of the belly pretty fast by a natural process, by just like burning fat naturally. It kind of mimic exercise in a way because it's burning fat without you to have to move too too
Oh,
much. But
yeah.
there is nothing magic in a, like I always say to everybody that whatever you take, and especially peptide, if you don't put the lifestyle that goes with it, you're pretty much losing your time because, like, I don't expect that I'm AOD 9604. I'm sitting on my desk, I'm not moving, and I'm eating a lot of carbs and processed food and everything, and then I'm going to lose weight. That doesn't work.
Right, exactly. So I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, get me some of that," right? So
Yeah, I wish.
yeah, right? I mean, yes, okay, I want some of that. In fact,
I
that
know.
particular peptide that she's I need that, the belly fat and all. My gosh, give me some of that. But of course, the only reason I'm interested in it because you are backing it up. And I know everything
Thank
that you
you for
do is
that.
impeccable. You make sure that
Yeah,
everything
clean.
is safe. That's the
Yeah.
only reason that I would ever even think of, using it because you're backing it up. But
Thank you.
what about the, we need fat, right? We need fat
Hmm.
for hormone signaling, we need it
Right.
for the peptides and everything. Is there like some sort of risk of, losing too much fat where we kind of impede that kind of signaling that fat is helping us with, like the myelination
Yeah.
all?
That's an excellent question, but you need fat that is available. You don't need the fat that is not available and it's stocked in your belly, around your liver, in organs and everything. That fat, it's very difficult to access it, and it's rarely used as fuel for your body. What you use for as fuel for your body is the fat that is coming from what you eat and what you digest most of the time. To get into the reserve of the fat, the third-born fat that you have in your belly, it takes drastic measures like 100 hours fasting. You're going to start at that. With 16-hour fasting, you barely touch that fat. Barely. Honestly, with 24 hours, yeah, okay, just a bit. You're going to start using it, but then you have to be ready for that. So the beauty of this peptide is like, yeah, you get into what you don't need. It's an excess, and actually, that excess fat is quite dangerous for the whole impact that it can have on your life and heart diseases potential in the future, and all these things that come down from the accumulation of fat that we don't need. So it doesn't affect your hormonal pathway. It doesn't affect the hormone processing and manufacturing of it. Absolutely not, because it doesn't touch the fat that you're processing normally. It touches the fat that is stocked and that is very difficult to access too. And
Amazing.
yeah, as I said, if you take this type of peptide, don't expect to lose weight right away. Like everything in life takes a certain time. I say that it's between 21 90 days to see drastic result. As long as you have a proper lifestyle, means you eat clean, you move, you drink water, and you do what is required, then the fat processing will go slowly and surely, and you're going to lose that fat that will never come back. Contrary of doing drastic diet that will, like, if you go on keto diet, yeah, you're going to lose fat right away. In 60 days, you can lose fat. But as soon as you stop keto and you switch over to something else, sometimes it comes back double because of the what we call the memory cell that remembers that, hey, my cell, I had fat. Now someone took the fat out of me for a reason that was brutal. So what does your cell? I need to stock twice the quantity of fat. So that's the thing. With peptide, you don't go that way. This is very interesting in our society today. We've been having a system that was a sick care with
Yeah.
medicine and pharmacy and everything. We haven't touched peptide before the Ozempic era, and now we do touch the peptide. Everybody's talking about peptides. Why is that? It's because it may be the future of medicine.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Jean, I mean, it's like it sounds too good to be true. To me, it's like, oh my gosh, everybody needs this and all. But has it been tested during a reasonable amount of time with a reasonable amount of, like a good population of subjects to know the efficacy and also the safety of use?
Well, I have to be honest on that. Because of peptides were banned and because of one factor that is absolutely non-negligible, peptides are not very expensive to produce, and peptides cannot be patented. So there is no need or no will the desire from pharmaceutical industry to say, I'm going to put money into peptides and do some research and pay 1 to 3 to 5 to $10 million of big research to back up what I'm doing, because everyone will produce the same molecule. I cannot patent it. So the research has been limited so far in terms of laboratory research. There's a lot, but not enough on human, definitely. It's probably going to come because today we see the interest and the growing, like the peptide industry is really ramping up faster even than the wellness industry. So we are going to see more and more research on human because they can be financed. They couldn't be before, but as today, yes, it's still limited. Of course, it is limited. I wouldn't claim that it's not. And as I said before, take the precaution when you go on peptide to make sure that it's coming from a compounded 503 pharmacy. If you are in the US, it's for human use. It's not for research and that. And the most important, talk to your practitioner or doctor to make sure that it's good for you, because testing your blood before going on peptide is always a good thing to do.
Okay. So in that sense, who would be then the perfect candidate for using for AOD?
AOD, I would
Mhm.
say anyone that is a bit overweight with a BMI that is above 23, 24, it's definitely a good candidate. If your BMI is 20, don't go that way.
Like
It's
you,
not,
for example, you have
yeah,
zero fat. So
that's
you've never, fair
I've
to say, You haven't
Yeah.
tried it on yourself.
No, and I don't want to I don't want to try AOD because I'm fighting to keep my fat instead of fighting to burn it. That's the thing. It's a funny story. I consider myself lucky, or maybe it's because I've been doing what I've been doing for so long, but my metabolism is kind of optimized to the point that if I do intermittent fasting for 2 days, I lose 5 pounds. If I do a 24 hours fasting, I lose 5 pounds. No kidding, no jokes. If I run for more than 2 hours, I lose 5 pounds as well. So it wouldn't be clever from my side to say, listen, I'm 8% body fat. I want to go down to 3%. That is going to be a dangerous game. And there's other peptides that would help what I'm doing, like CGC 1295 combined with ipamorelin. It's another peptide blend that plays on the AGH, so growth hormone at night. Pituitary gland get triggered by pulse and trigger growth of your muscle. And at the same time, the ipamorelin plays burning fat with the same process pretty much as AOD, same kind of pathways. So you combine growing muscle or reducing the fat to a certain balance, and that is one of the peptides I've been taking because I like to keep my muscle. We are getting older. We need to have a certain amount of muscle to sustain our life beyond the 120 that we target. But there's so many peptides out there. Some are great. Some are just like not that good, like preaching for whatever. We have on the market a peptide that is called PT141. And PT141 is actually coming from a peptide that is called melanotan. Melanotan was studied to change actually the color of your skin to get darker. But they realized that when you take melanotan, the arousal, sexual arousal gets up. So they worked on that. They came up with the melanotan 2, which is a bit more safe than the melatonin 1. And then they took a part of the melanotan to make the PT141 that is the trigger of arousal. So when people get older and their arousal, their sexual desire gets lower, if you take PT141, trust me, it works.
Wow, is that for both men and women?
Absolutely, yes.
So you get tanned and you have
It's and you get hyperactive.
like two different, yeah, two different stones. I mean, sorry, two different birds, one stone, but still
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. But to be honest, I'm not a big fan of that peptide because in some people, you get nauseous. So, and it triggers certain nausea, I'm the type of person that likes to be in control of everything I do. So that feeling of nausea, I don't like it. But some people they don't have that secondary effect, and it works very, very well. But definitely, it's a peptide that is a miracle for that application. Instead of taking Viagra or Cialis, for men, you better take PT141.
Right. So these peptides, would you have to take them forever? Like AOD, for example, like for
No,
maintenance or something. Is it that when you lose the weight and you like your weight, you stay and then
yeah,
just continue with lifestyle?
absolutely, absolutely. So no peptides except NAD is meant to be forever. NAD is the only peptide that I would recommend taking daily and for the rest of your life if you are over 30. But any other peptides is like you go on for 6 weeks, you cycle off for 2 weeks. You can go on for 8 weeks, you cycle off for 4 weeks. You can even do 8 weeks, cycle off for 2 months if you want. That is important. And like, for example, AOD, you take it 5 times a week, not 7 times a week. So you take it Monday to Friday and stop over the weekend and then start again. And you do that for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and then you cycle off for a month or 2 months, but not for the rest of your life. It's not necessary. Your body, remember, peptides are messengers. So they're not a medicine. They're just a messenger. Some things that your body is already or should be already building. So what you want is to make your body remember that they exist, because when you get older, the less peptide you produce in your body. So you remember to your body, to your brain, to your pituitary gland, that you need to produce AGH or whatever molecule and hormone, but you don't want to replace that. So this is the beauty of it. Like let's take an example. AGH, okay? Producing AGH with a peptide. You have sermorelin, you have CGC1295, tesamorelin. Those trigger certain pathway in your brain to produce growth hormone. Okay. But I'm not injecting growth hormone like bodybuilder were doing and ended up by dying at the age of 50 because of heart attack, because of so many consequences. And bodybuilder, when they were injecting AGH or testosterone, what is happening is actually the body stopped producing it. But in terms of peptides, your body doesn't stop producing it, because what you only do is you send the signal to produce it. So you make your body produce what you need, for example, the AGH. And this is the beauty of peptide. It's just like it's really a natural way of doing it. So it's not replacing anything. Asking your body to, is signaling, is asking your body to do something.
Okay. Is there any, because you know how hormones will
Mm-hmm.
cross signal each other, the
Yeah,
thyroid, the adrenal, and everything. Is it a kind of an adaptogenic? Like if you inject it, it creates what you need based on whatever the, is
that's a
it kind
good.
of smart that way?
Yeah, it's a good parallel. It's a good parallel to take. I wouldn't call them adaptogenics because they're just messengers signaling.
Right.
But yes, and you know, everything you trigger in your body in with a certain pathway will affect other pathways as well. Like when we were talking about AOD, we know that AOD will trigger a certain part of AGH and will trigger fat burning in a certain way. So you always use a natural pathway to do it, but every pathway, it's not unique. Like it's not a straight line and say, okay, I just want to do that. If I have too much AGH, I'm going to grow my muscle, but I'm going to, of course, raise my AGF1 and so on and so on. So our body is magical for that. It's like every action creates reactions.
Exactly. And that question comes from the concerns around Ozempic, now that I know it's a
Mm.
peptide, and that it kind of runs around the pathway of leptin and ghrelin, which is satiation and the hunger,
Right.
which is the same pathway, actually,
Yeah,
the same hormonal pathway that bulletproof coffee with MCT oil and
I know.
butter is also hacking
Yeah,
into, right? So
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
people don't get hungry and everything. But with Ozempic though, there's such a thing as gastroparesis. The digestion actually shuts down.
Yeah.
And so it's like, do how do we know that the other peptides don't have that same kind of severe effect or
It's not the same because GLP-1 is glucagon like peptide 1. Okay, that's the name of
right?
it. It's using a hormonal pathway. So it's targeting the GLP-1 receptors, okay, Ozempic and others. The AOD, it's a non-hormonal
Right.
pathway. That is the difference. So you don't stop anything except lipolysis and the fat metabolism there. That's the only thing you do.
Wow. You were saying, and I wanted to circle back to something that you said about NAD being the only one that you would take every day. Would you, does it come in a subcutaneous injection peptide form as well? Or would you say, what do you think about the capsule form versus the IV form?
Okay, that's a great question. So I actually formulated our NAD plus that we call NAD boost that is on our website. It's on capsule and it's actually niacin and a booster and some things that make sure that when the niacin goes through the blood barrier, it gets triggers the reaction of producing NAD. So an R and MN to NAD. And there is vitamin C as support into it as well to make sure, because it's a water soluble vitamin. So to transport this element. So I like that effect of the capsules. It's great. You take 2 capsules a day, you really feel the difference. But some people are funny because they go like, "Oh, I'm going to take NAD, but I don't feel like that boost." Okay, it's not caffeine, it's NAD. Okay, yeah,
Yes.
and it takes a buildup in your body to restore the bank of your NAD level. So it's not that easy. You take NAD and you're boosted up. It's just like you need to build up your NAD, because NAD after the age of 20 uh, diminish 1%, 2% a year. So by 50, you have not even half of the NAD you had when you were 20, and you need to rebuild that. So pills, subcutaneous, is one of the most favorable form of taking NAD, because you get straight into the bloodstream. So you inject subcutaneous, it goes through the fat tissues and it goes straight into the bloodstream. So there is no waste in that process. You don't have to go through the digestion process and so on. NAD exists on nasal spray. I like that too. It's interesting, but I don't like the it's a bit irritating in terms of putting the NAD. The molecule is kind of aggressive in the nose, so I'm not a big fan. And then IVs. So many people have been talking about taking NAD on IVs. Here's my recommendation: don't,
Okay.
don't.
Oh, yay! Thank you. It's been
It's
around
too
for a
brutal.
while.
Yeah,
Crazy
it's
expensive. People are puking on it and
yeah,
everything.
of course.
Yeah.
This is the problem. Like if you overdo NAD, you actually go against the redox process of your body. So you are creating oxidation. And if you are over your limit of NAD, instead of being beneficial, you're not beneficial. Injecting so much on an IV, first, your body, you feel so bad. Like even subcutaneous, if you inject the dose that is a bit too high, like double of the dose that is recommended, you feel this like blood pressure goes down, you don't feel great, you need to sit down, and it's not a pleasant feeling. So when you do IV, that feeling times 500 is terrible. And then remember, NAD is used to produce ATP. So you boost an overwhelming level of producing ATP with your mitochondria in a short amount of time. What is happening? Like, you don't feel good. And in your blood, because of the IV, it's not going to last more than 3 days. So you've been spending that much money on that much NAD to get the 3, maybe 5 days of like okay energy. If you go on subcutaneous, for the same amount, you can have like 6 months of NAD regularly, daily, and it just goes like steadily in your bloodstream and gets you the energy level you need to be operational and on top performance if you want. We have the pills. We have agreement with centers that do IV injection as well. We do have the subcutaneous injection NAD. My favorite, subcutaneous.
Oh, fabulous. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that they're subcutaneous now because
Yeah.
NAD has been around for a while
Oh,
now,
yeah. Yeah.
way, way before the pandemic. And, we're
Of
all kind of
course.
all over
Yeah.
it and sensitive and everything. I mean, what about just taking the regular niacin flush? Does
Yeah.
that do anything? Is that okay too?
Yeah. I think it's like, there is a company that it's called True Niagen. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a very clean product that works pretty well in pills as well. It's a great way of doing it. But, you know, if you were to take NMN,
Yeah.
works very well as well, because instead of taking the NAD, you take the precursor of the NAD. So I like taking NMN. So here's what I do actually, Ellie. In the morning, I take NMN. An hour after, I do my subcutaneous injection of NAD, and I'm good for the day.
Really?
Yeah. So I first boost and then I put the small add-on of my NAD, and my level of NAD and energy, it's with me until the end of the day. No crashes in the afternoon, nothing like that. When I go to bed, I sleep like deeply.
Beautiful, because you have so much energy for sleep.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you build it up. Yeah. Build
Have
all
you
the
ever
melatonin.
Yeah. Have you ever missed a dose, and did you feel a difference? Was
No,
there a difference
it's
that you felt?
no, because like everything, like supplement, like for example, every supplement, because of the marketing that companies does, they said 30 days every day. Trust me, if you take supplement 20 days a month, you wouldn't feel a difference.
So
There is no difference.
technically,
Technically, you don't have to take your
you don't
supplement
have
every
to.
day.
Ev-
Absolutely not.
NAD, even like your
Even
NAD,
the
you don't
NAD,
have
you
to.
could, yeah, you don't have to. You could take NAD 5 times a week and be okay. It's like this bank of NAD that is in this reserve of NAD. The most important is to build it up constantly. So when you start taking NAD, it's going to take you between 10 and 20 days to really feel a difference. Once your level of NAD becomes steady and stabilized, if you miss one day, 1 week, I traveled to France a month ago. I didn't take my NAD. I didn't want to travel with my injections. I just like, okay, for 1 week, no NAD. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Don't never be obsessed of
Right.
these. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I know if there's anybody who doesn't like the cult of biohacking and the self-quantification obsession as well,
Yeah.
that it's you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Life is simple when you take it simply, and our body is very intelligent. It adapts to everything you do. Some
Yeah.
people actually trigger, like the placebo effect, triggers the not well-being by saying, "Oh, I forgot my supplement this morning. I don't feel good." This is bullshit.
Yes, exactly. That would be the nocebo effect, is to feel
Yeah.
that something is bad for
Correct.
you, and
Yeah.
then it becomes bad for
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So on that note, on travel, and we were thinking of like, how do we get it here in the Philippines? There might be some sort of like impediments too, right?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I haven't checked on the regulation, the health regulation in Philippines, but you know how it works in the US for us is like you order your peptide from our website, you talk to one of our doctor, the doctor prescribe the peptides, and the pharmacy that is the closest to your home will ship the peptide to you. We are not, because of the FDA regulation, we're not allowed to ship the peptide to you. It's not research grade, okay? It's for human. So it has to be under 503 regulation. So in the Philippines, I don't know if any pharmacy compound the peptides. This is some things I need to check. Some people from other countries, what they do, they order it in the US and they have it shipped overnight to their countries, which, in my opinion, I don't think it's even legal because, like in Canada, you cannot ship peptides. It's against Health Canada. You can have peptides in Canada, but you cannot cross the border. Well,
Wow.
this is some things we need to check with Philippines. I have no idea, to be honest.
Right. And I can check because there was a time in 2020 where we found a supply for BPC 157
Oh,
and
really?
Epitalon, and yeah, locally. So I want to check with this person if, yeah,
Yeah,
if that's
yeah.
possible.
BPC 157 is a nice peptide too.
Yeah, could you talk about it? Because it's quite one of the most popular ones.
Yeah, it is one of the most popular. Still, you know what? In pharmacy compounding, the paradox of BPC 157 is like many pharmacy don't want to compound it because of the potential cancer issues that can be triggered. So they don't want to take the risk because we're in the United States. No one wants to be sued. But BPC 157 works very well on pills. You don't need injection. It's because it's a small fragment of a digestive like protein, like from the gut directly. So it's a portion of your gut lining. that is used there. So it works very, very well. If you take pills, they are absorbed and they work well on your body. It's a powerful repair peptide, anti-inflammatory, joint repair. Like everybody that suffers like shoulder pain, knees pains, and joints, BPC 157 is great. And everybody with IBS or digestive issues or colon syndrome, sorry, should be on BPC 157.
Okay. Do you sell that in lifespanning? Do you have the pill
Yeah.
form? Pill form.
We do. We do have the pill form, and we have a pill form that is actually a salty form of it, and with a certain extent to make it like going not only through the digestive barrier, going through the blood barrier without being alterated. So it acts as the messenger all across the body.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. And again, to use it, do you only use it if you have an injury, or could you
No,
use it and have some sort of benefit from it?
yeah, you always have benefit of using BPC 157 because everything starts from the gut. And the people on this planet that have a perfect gut are probably, you can count them on my hand. Improving your gut system is always something that I would recommend for sure.
And would you take that on a daily basis, but or would you say the cycling on and off
Yeah, I cycle
as
on and
well?
off. So I take BPC 157, not even every day, but sometimes I go like 5, 6, 7, 10 days in a row. And sometimes I just don't take it for a month. It's just like according to, when you do sports and you feel that your shoulders are like wrenching or making a bizarre noise, take BPC 157 to prevent before you get injuries. And sometimes if your stomach is just not doing right or you feel like digestion is slow, yeah, BPC 157 is fantastic for that as well, for transit, for everything.
And it wouldn't be considered doping. Let's say if you had an elite athlete who would take PPC 157,
No, yeah, yeah. Oh, no, the BBC is not considered doping.
a drug or anything.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
Actually, BPC 157 combined with TB 500 was called the Wolverine pack. So it's a powerful combination of peptide that repairs your body uh, 5, 10 times faster than natural eating. So for people in search of performances, doing really hard exercise and they want to recover faster, that is one that works very well, but not on the long term. Like everything, not made for a long term.
Because not made for long term
Well,
because
because everything, you don't want your body to become lazy. As I said,
right.
it's messengers triggering signal. So you want your body to be able to trigger signal by itself. So you don't want to replace every single processes in your body by taking external molecules in a way or the other. Like some people they want to take this new peptide to replace exercising because it has the same process of running 45 minutes. I'm not too much for that. I think that we need to be naturally doing the natural stuff for our bodies.
Right. Yeah. It
You
will
know,
feel different anyway, I think. It's
I
yeah, it's
agree.
the same mechanism. It's not just a single pathway. There are multiple pathways that are signaled as well. I think it would be kind of the same concept behind like if you take synthetic melatonin, you tend to
Hmm.
downregulate your own production or signaling of melatonin.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an hormone. Melatonin is an hormone, and we produce it
Right.
in the morning more than at night. So, yeah, some people take it for sport performances. I don't.
Yeah, me neither. I
No,
don't feel good. I only
no,
when I'm jet lagged and
no.
only for the
That's it.
first 3 days and then that's it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think the next step might be how to get it
In
in
the
the Philippines.
Philippines, yes. So let's
Yeah.
let's let's search on that. Let's try to find out the way. We are open to participate in that. If we can set up a system, I'll be happy to involve lifespanning and set up the whole process of getting you guys safe peptides for humans and everything. So we're gonna dig into that for sure.
Oh, and another question,
Hmm.
what about for animals? peptide? Is there peptide used for animals too?
Yes, definitely. We actually have on our website a full range of peptides for animals.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
kidding. Holy
yeah,
moly.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have anything for an animal with lung carcinoma, with a lung cancer? I mean, I
Uh,
already know
yeah.
I just wanted to see if there's something that could help with some of
So, you
that
know,
in terms of energy.
so peptides are made for prevention more than curating for
Right.
now. Yeah. So everything with cancer, you should avoid everything that is related to growth. So no AGH, no trigger, no things like that, because you can take the risk of growing the melanoma or the tumor. I'm sad about that.
Yeah, and actually, yeah, I mean, there's a part of my work where we know the kind of this, kind of like what I wrote about in Lifespanning
Mm.
magazine about, the heart biological program. So lung cancer would be a fear of death. So in a dog, it's interesting how it would be afraid to die. So we're thinking that it would likely be the electromagnetic feeling that it gets from the owner more than of its own life. So
I agree.
just something there, and we're just thinking maybe the peptide could give it just a little more because it's skinny, so
Yeah.
maybe to kind of delay sarcopenia a little bit, or
Maybe.
cachexia,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
I'm convinced that animals are not afraid to die. Only human are.
exactly.
Yeah, they have this resignation of, like, when you see animal in the nature, to a certain point they accept the fact that they're going to die, and we human don't, because today we don't know consciousness enough to understand why we are like that. But that's another topic to discuss.
That's another topic. My gosh, that's a rabbit hole. We need to get into that. Yeah, but you're right. Animals wouldn't be afraid to die. You're
No,
right. No,
no,
they
no.
wouldn't be. But we don't want them, and we love them so much.
No, absolutely. It's because of our attachment, and or because we're selfish, actually. We don't want them to die.
Right, and we also have oxytocin. They're mammals as well,
Yeah,
and we
yeah, yeah,
co-regulate, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
oxytocin with each and bond with them, with each
Mm,
other.
true.
Yeah, again, we're jumping topics, but I could talk about everything. And by the way, I love your eyewear. We were talking about this before the
Thank
recording,
you.
but this eyewear is so amazing. Only you can get away with eyewear like that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Yeah. Trying
Oh,
to
mm.
stay original. I love them too. And you know what? I found them. I was traveling and I found them, and they were like collectors, and in that shop, and I go like, holy shit, this is so cool. And the lady there, she said, oh, it's a collector, the Batman series, there's only few pairs. And I go like, I buy three just in
Okay.
case I lose one.
Good thinking. Yeah. This is the Mad Max, like the Mel
Yeah, from the
Gibson movie.
movie Mad Max, and
That
it's called the Mad Men.
better. Okay, now I want to watch it again. See if I
Yeah,
can find it, and then we'll see
you'll
if I
see
can
the
find the
big guy
eyewear.
mechanical. Yeah,
Ah, yeah, the mechanic. Okay, okay, got
yeah.
it. Yeah, I think we're aging ourselves as well. People now know how old we are
I
because
know. Yeah,
of that
yeah, yeah.
movie.
With references of this movie that no one, yeah, from Gen Z has heard of.
Exactly. Yeah, they would yeah, they wouldn't even know. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you so much again
Thank you.
for educating us, and let our viewers know where they can reach you, your social media platforms and websites.
Thank you. So life spanning like this, lifespanning.com is the best platform. And you know what? If you go on the platform, we actually have a tool that is free for everyone. Take the questionnaire. We're going to assess your potential of living longer and to what extent. We're going to tell you you can live up to 108, you can live up to 100 or what, according to lifestyles biomarkers. So take the test there, lifespanning.com. It's a cool thing to do. And from there, we can make recommendation what kind of supplement you can take or what kind of peptide you should take. Also, Cyborg Gains is my Instagram, yeah, where I put out my sport and lifestyle and everything out there.
Thank you.
But
Thank you so
thank you
much.
for having me, of course.
Jean is one of the fittest people I know. My gosh, Cyber Gains. Look at all the stuff that he does there. He's really superhuman.
Thank you.
Really.
Thank
You have this advocacy as well, right, Jean, that I'm so proud of, where you were saying that you wanted biohacking to be available for all and not make it this
my dream.
expensive elite
Yeah.
thing. Yeah, could
Yeah,
you
it's my
tell?
dream. Honestly, it's really my dream. I think that longevity is made for everyone. Shouldn't be some things accessible to an elite people. And I'm gonna fight for that for the rest of my life, building everything that is possible around us to make sure that everyone has access to tools. Most of the time, I'm trying to get all tools for free, like educational tools, tips, and recommendation. And even when we do this like test and assessment, we don't force anyone to buy from us. We just tell them like, hey, listen, you need to take vitamin D, for example. You should take NMN. We don't tell them, hey, go to our website and buy these things. If they want, they can, but no forcing anywhere. Longevity is made for humans. We are meant to live above 120. I repeat.
I love it. Yes, I'll see you, and when we'll both be yeah at that age.
Yeah, that's it.
Look the same.
That's it. No changes.
Amazing. Amazing. And I love it because you walk the talk. It really is. You're a longevity expert. You walk the talk. You can see it. You can feel it. Your energy reflects it. So you're the real thing, which is what
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate
I'm
about you.
touched. I'm touched. I'm
Oh,
blessed to know you.
thank you so much. And
Thank you, Ellie.
everybody, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again on Ellie on Point. And this has been Jean Fallacara, a good friend and an amazing human being. So grateful to have him on the
Thank you
planet.
for watching. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye, Jean. Bye, everybody.
Bye to you.
Talk to you later.
Bye
Okay.
bye.
Bye bye.